Hello everyone! This is something that I really like to use when I am doing my own self-coaching, and it's something that I want to make sure that all of my clients have before they embark on their own self-coaching journey after working with me. So let's get started. So the very first thing that we want to think about when we are talking about the model is a circumstance. So we'll start with C. Circumstance. Now there's a few rules about circumstances. Number one, they're neutral. There can't be any kind of judgment when you're talking about a circumstance. So the example that we're going to be working with today is that you planned a lunch with your friend, let's say Gina. Gina shows up an hour late. So the circumstance in this situation has nothing to do with how you feel or what Gina is thinking, what led to Gina being late. We want to get the circumstance as specific as possible. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to say, planned a lunch with Gina, she was an hour late. That's it. There's no judgment in that. The second part is the thought that you have about the circumstance. A thought is just a sentence in your mind. That's it. Thoughts are not moral. They're not good or bad. They have no bearing on any action until the model plays itself out. So for example, you could have in your mind, let's say you're married and you see your neighbor walk by and you're like, wow, she is so hot, okay? That does not make you a good or a bad person, unlike maybe what you were taught to think. Now, that thought, if you sit with it and you think it every time you see them, it could lead you to a desire, the feeling, and it could lead you to cheating. That can have an impact on your life, but the thought itself, unless you give it power, doesn't have any bearing on your life whatsoever. So a thought is also neutral. It's neither good nor bad. And as I said before, it's just a sentence in your mind. Okay? So this is the thought. The thought is caused by the circumstance. The next one is feeling. And this is really what blew my mind when I started using the model. A feeling is a physical sensation in your body. I'll say it again. A feeling is a physical sensation in your body. When you are sad, how does your body feel? Do you have a lack of energy? Maybe the muscles in your face get tired, or your heart, your chest feels heavy. Maybe, like for example, when I'm angry. Anger is usually a pretty easy one to identify. If I'm angry, my face gets bright red, my ears get extremely hot, my heart starts to pound. I usually feel a little bit shaky. When I'm anxious, my stomach gets all twisted up in knots. I definitely lose control of my hands in that situation. They shake quite a lot. I usually get a pain in my head right here when I'm anxious. So a feeling is simply the sensations in your body. It's not the thought causing the feeling. Stay with me, okay? So we have circumstance, thought, feeling. Inevitably, feelings cause actions. So the thought that your neighbor is hot doesn't make you cheat on your husband. It's the feeling you get from thinking that thought. So if you think that thought consistently and you start to feel desire, a physical desire for your neighbor, the feeling, the physical sensation is what causes you to act. And in this case, you can choose to act or choose not to act. They are both action. So by not cheating, that means that you've got a thought there that's holding you back. But by cheating, it means that you're taking that thought, which was creating desire, and then you're transforming that into an action. So A is for action. And then after action, we have the result. So CTFAR, C-T-F-A-R. Now, results can be varied, right? So let's say that you do choose to cheat on your partner with your neighbor. Maybe you end up divorcing. Maybe you end up feeling so much guilt that you aren't able to function for a while. Okay? There's a lot of different ways that we can get from circumstance to result. And it's important to know that you can control your thoughts. Your thoughts control your feelings. You can't make yourself stop feeling sad by just being like, hey self, stop being sad. You can't. And of course, we're talking about healthy human psychology. We're not talking about anything with like a chemical imbalance or anxiety and depression, like that kind of pre-existing condition. I have all of those and I'm well medicated. But we're talking about the ability to manage your mind. So what you can do is look at a circumstance. See the thought you are having, the feeling that it's creating, and then say, do I want to take this action? Yes or no? What action am I trying to create? So let's go back to the example that I said I would give at the beginning. So let's say that your friend Gina is an hour late for a lunch that you've planned. Now, there's a couple of different things that you could think, but most of us are going to go to the negative right away. So let's say that you tell Gina when let's say that when Gina arrives, your first thought that comes into your head is, Gina doesn't respect me. All the other drama and everything that's going on in your head really boils down to, she doesn't respect our friendship. Now that thought is going to make you angry or sad, most likely. And anger or sadness are going to lead to an uncomfortable lunchtime, and you're not going to get to enjoy yourself. But what if we change the thought? Let's say that instead of thinking that she doesn't respect you, let's say that Gina got busy and was late to lunch. That's totally neutral. You're not assuming anything about what she thinks or feels. You can't control other people, right? You can only control yourself. And that's what this really focuses on. At no point in here can you have someone else's feelings, right? The result of, let's say that you're feeling sad at lunch, and the action is that you're passive aggressive. The result is not that you upset Gina, because you don't know how Gina feels. Even if Gina tells you, you don't know how Gina feels. The result is maybe you feel guilty. Maybe you don't invite Gina to lunch again in the future and you miss out on a great friendship. There's a lot of things that can happen, but you only know what's inside of you. Okay? So we never put in any of these. Like, for example, we wouldn't say for a thought, my husband thinks I'm a cheater. We don't know what your husband thinks. What we do know is if your husband says to you, I think you want to do it with our neighbor, then you can write down, my husband said, then maybe you're offended, Maybe you think, my husband doesn't trust me. Maybe that's your thought after that. Does that make sense? If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm more than happy to do a live with this sometime so we can actually look at a model from one of your points of view. It's a lot more helpful when you see someone else getting coached on this kind of thing. This is the basis for all change when you're talking about your life. Our thoughts are created by our beliefs. Our beliefs are part of our circumstances. So when I'm coaching someone, what we're really working towards is creating the beliefs and really believing them that are going to lead them to the thoughts and feelings that are going to change their life. So, for example, in order to take on this role as a coach, I have to believe that I have value to offer. And I do. You cannot transform your life without knowing deep inside of you that you are worthy, you are whole, you are competent and creative. You have all the tools inside of yourself to live the life you want to live. All excuses aside, sometimes it's going to be hard. My process is a 3-step process. First, we work on your relationship with yourself. I find that people really don't trust themselves, they don't love themselves, and they never treat themselves with the respect that they deserve. So that's step 1. First, we transform the relationship you have with yourself. When you look in the mirror, you want to be excited to see yourself. The second step is the tough love. And that's where you hold yourself accountable for going after the life you want, not allowing excuses to make you treat yourself as less than valuable. If you are staying in a toxic relationship, I guarantee it's because you do not value yourself enough to know what you are capable of. You either aren't expecting change in your relationship, or you're not escaping because you don't think you can make it on your own, or because you think that circumstances are going to get in the way. Those beliefs are keeping you where you are. And they always come back to self-worth. You can start a diet program. We have all been there, right? You can start a new regimen where you're trying to work out 4 times a week, or you're trying to make sure you eat lots of fruits and veggies. And at the end of the day, at the end of the month, let's say you make it a whole month, or let's say you make it through an entire program. You lose the weight, you're probably going to put it back on. Because the action you're taking is not coming from a place of self-respect and love. It's easy for me to say, I need to stop drinking for my children because I want to live a long life. But then my children drive me crazy and I get stressed out and I want to drink. In order to hold true to what I want, it has to come from inside of me. And it has to come from a place of self-respect. It has to. So we do self-respect, the tough love. So that means looking at yourself honestly and saying, I respect myself and I love myself. What am I doing to sabotage me? And then making a commitment to you not to do it anymore. Making a commitment to be the person you want to be out of excitement and gladness for being who you are. And then part 3 is where we take tools like the model, and you learn how to coach yourself for the rest of your life. There's absolutely no reason that you need a coach every month for the rest of your life. And that's the beauty of it. Can it be pricey? Yes, because you are transforming the way you think. All of the things that are holding you back, all of the garbage that has been drilled into your head for your entire life, we're going to get rid of it. And unlike therapy, we don't need to spend months and months going back and looking at what made you the way you are. We're going to honor you who you are. If you've been through some crap, good. You have experience, you have wisdom. Do I respect trauma? Yes, I have been there. But I am not going to allow my trauma to keep me from living the life I deserve. And that's right, I said deserve. This isn't about being greedy. This isn't about anything that affects your morality. This doesn't make you a narcissist. The best way to be of service to the people you love, the best way to be of service to the planet, is to be who you were born to be. When you reach that place, the peace that you feel in yourself is incredible. And I have no doubt that every single person is capable of that. I have always prided myself on knowing when I meet someone, I can see their value. And with coaching, I found a way to use that skill. And let me tell you, you have skills, just like I do, that are unique to you. You bring something that no one else can to this world. And if you want to care for others, if you want to nurture the way that women are raised to be, if you want to live up to and you want a better society, the best way to do that is to love yourself. If you're interested at all, please let me know. I am about halfway filled with my client bookings right now. So please get on my list, and I would love to start working with you and transforming your life. Let's go.